Hi everyone, I'm Jordan, the race director for this year's Hume and Hovell Ultras, and I just wanted to give a quick race safety briefing, going through sort of what to expect with weather on the day, course conditions, course marking, any sort of last minute ideas around drop bags, some important points for crews, and then it'll be race day before we know it. So the weather is, as you can see behind me here in Tumbarumba, is lovely and sunny and a bit cool at night. It's been really warm through the day, and that's kind of what we're expecting for race weekend. There's a small chance of showers up high for 100k runners. Otherwise, everyone doing the 22 and 50, we should have nice clear weather, a bit windy perhaps. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about what layers you want to pack. But it should be really lovely out on course. Lots of sunshine. Things are looking really green and lush. We had some rain today and last week, so the course is really just in beautiful condition. Speaking of the course, so most of the course is pretty dry. There's a few spots that are a bit muddy for the 50k, and over the next couple of days with some sun, it should dry out a little bit more from today. But there's a couple of spots where we've got a bit of a spring next to the trail heading up towards the junction campsite for our 50k and 100k runners, and that area can get a little bit boggy, so definitely expect to get your shoes a little muddy there. Otherwise, the course is in great condition. The trail crews have been out clearing it. There may still be a couple of blowdowns down, but most of the major ones are gone. There is one for our 100k runners that I'll put a picture of here. When you get to this blowdown, if you come to it in the night, you might not be able to see the downhill side of the trail very well, but we definitely need you to go under this one, because if you do slip coming down it, you're going to slide a little ways down the bank, and that's not going to be very comfortable for you. So please go under this tree if it is still there when you come to it. For our 100k runners only, 22 and 50, you don't need to worry about it. The course is marked with a combination of these yellow safety tags, these red flags, and in the farmland north of Henry Angel, there will be also some white posts with red lights that are flashing overnight. In addition to all of that marking from us, there's also the Hume and Hovell track markers, which are these white posts with the Hume and Hovell logo. And you're going to see those at least every 500 meters on the course. So between the Hume and Hovell markers, our markers, you should be seeing a track marking every 500 meters at a minimum. If you do go 800 meters or a K and you haven't seen anything, then it's probably a good idea to stop, pull out your phone, check your Avenza map, or if you're your paper map purist, then by all means check your map and you know where you are. But just ensure that you're on that track, because it is fairly well marked between our markers and the track markers. We don't ever go off of the Hume and Hovell track, except for our 100k runners in their loop around Paddy's Dam, but that's going to be really well marked and marshaled for you, so you should at all times be on the actual Hume and Hovell track. If you come to an intersection, intersections have been marked most extensively, usually with a combination of arrows and flags, or the Hume and Hovell track markers, and we've tried to make those a bit more visible for our 100k runners as you come up on the course. The 22k course is marked a little bit more heavily than the 100k course, because the 100k course has fewer intersections along it. So it is really straightforward most of the time, and anytime you are crossing a road, you're usually crossing a road and it's going to be marked on both sides of the road. So it's really clear where you're going. There's also phone service most of the route, except for the last couple of kilometers to Paddy's Dam. We would recommend that you please keep your cell phone service on if possible. That way, if there is an emergency, we need to contact you, we can do that. But to turn everything else off in order to save battery life. The requirement for a battery pack for our 50k and 100k runners is so that if your battery does run low and you are relying on that phone for navigation, you have the option to charge it. So please make sure if you're bringing a battery pack, you actually bring a charging cord along with it that will fit. And just to save that battery, try not to run too many things in the background as much as you can. We also recommend, it's not a requirement, but we recommend that you download the Emergency Plus app, which will just help keep us informed if something happens. You can easily communicate to emergency services your location. Moving on to safety. So The biggest safety risks on the course just come from the natural hazards of trail running. There's a section between Mount Garland and the bridge crossing over Tumbarumba Creek that can be a bit narrow. It's a beautiful section of the course. It's one of the nicest sections out there, but it is a bit narrow. It's an open hillside. You'll know it when you come to it. You just need to carefully pass there. There will be two-way traffic on that. We've tried to time it so that there's not too many of the front packs passing each other. But if you're passing someone who's slower, please be respectful in both directions. So faster runners, make sure you respect that the slower runners are out there doing their best. Communicate to them well ahead of when you'd like to pass. Please don't just shove past without saying something. And then those runners who are at the back of the pack, find a space where you feel safe and comfortable, and then do just allow those faster runners to pass you when it's safe to do so. That way everyone can enjoy their day out. If you do come across someone who's injured, please stop and assist that runner. So that is an expectation, and one of the conditions of doing this event is that you help someone if they are hurt. Now, obviously, if they're just cramping up or feeling a bit unwell, you don't need to stop and stay with them. But if someone is visibly injured or needs assistance, you do need to stop and stay with that runner. If you have service, contact us. If not, please flag the next person passing and ask them to notify the next aid station or send for help. A reminder that the mandatory equipment is there for instances like this. The mandatory equipment is not for we have a beautiful day and it's 20 degrees. It's there if we have a beautiful day, it's 20 degrees, you break your ankle and we can't get you out for 7 hours until the middle of the night. It's that equipment that you need to stay safe in the instance that the worst case scenario happens. So the reason for that mandatory gear is those worst case scenarios. It's not best case scenarios. Mandatory gear, we have a couple of updates. So we will not need to have the extra mandatory gear. So for the 100K runners, you won't need your fleece jacket, you won't need waterproof pants, and our 50 or gloves. And our 50K runners, you do not need to carry your thermal pants. So the conditions are so nice, a bit rare nice. We really don't think anyone is going to have an issue where they're going to be out all night. So we are dropping the requirement for the thermal pants for the 50K runners, which I hope is good news for some of you. If you have any questions about mandatory gear, please sing out to us tonight or tomorrow morning, because we really do want you to have that gear before you come to Tumbarumba. There isn't a lot of opportunity to buy anything that you need here. So if there's something that you're missing, you need to go ahead and get it on your way into town. Tom's Outdoors will have a few things if you're coming through Tumut. If you're coming from Canberra, you can obviously stop there. A lot of things can be bought in Wagga as well, but we aren't going to have a lot of extra items around. So please go ahead and sort that mandatory gear. A big one on mandatory gear is you do have to have a snake bandage. So all distances, you need to have a snake bandage. Given the warmer weather and the fact that it is early spring, we do anticipate there will probably be some snakes out there. You may or may not see snakes, but please have a snake bandage. Take a bit of time to read how to use it in the case that you do have to. Again, it's exceedingly rare that a snake actually bites anyone. I've seen dozens and dozens of snakes. I've never had anything, remotely close to one coming at me. And I think the same is true for most trail runners. We kind of know they're out there, but it is important to just take a second, read up on what to do in the instance that you do get bit, know how to use that snake bandage, and as a big reminder, in the case that you think you've been bitten, please just stay put and flag someone for help or call us immediately. That's definitely a immediate contact situation, and get that snake bandage on. In terms of other wildlife, we've got some magpies out. The magpies, especially on the farmland heading north to Junction, there's a couple of magpies through there. And just keep an eye out for wombat holes as well. Wombats love to dig holes along the creek beds. They love to dig holes in the farmland. And since we run through both creek beds and farmland, you will certainly see a lot of wombat holes. Pay attention to your footing, especially if you're running through in the dark. Just note that the ground can be a bit uneven, and look out for those. There's not too many uneven bits from cows this year as there has been in the past, but that is always a possibility to be looking out for. Just depressions, dips in the grass. It's an uneven terrain. That's what trail running is, but just be aware of it, be mindful of it, and expect to be a bit slower through those sections if this is your first trail race. Other wildlife, there will probably be For our 100K runners, you probably will see potentially some deer and some wild horses as well. If you do run across those feral deer or horses, then just don't approach them. Take a photo if you want to, but don't go near them. They'll probably run away from you. And just be mindful, keep your respectful distance. We will cut this little bit here. Moving on to our cruise. So our cruise, you guys are legends. Thanks for being out here. As a reminder, you can come to Manus Lake. If you are traveling to Manus Lake, be aware there'll be runners on the road. So if you're traveling along Manus Lake Road, drive slowly. It's a 40-kilometer-an-hour limit. We'd recommend even slower if there's runners close by. So allow yourself plenty of time there. All the driving directions are in the course information booklets online. The road into Paddy's is what we would recommend as a all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive only at this point. So we did get a significant bit of a shower today. That road may dry out enough in the next few days that it won't be slippery. But at this point, this afternoon, it has a few slippery sections, and it's going to be best navigated by a vehicle with all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive capacity, just because there are some red clay sections. Even vehicles with those capacities will just need to go slow. We aren't meant to get any rain between now and race day or on race day, so it should dry out even further, especially with some warm sun on it. But if you have a small two-wheel drive, I would either exercise a lot of caution or try and see if you can organize another option. Reach out to us if you need some help doing that. You need to get into Paddy's, or your crew needs to get into Paddy's, and you're not quite sure if their vehicle will make it. We can kind of give you a bit more details on that road. Finally, speaking of going to Paddy's, our relay teams. So we've got 2 relay teams this year, which is great, because up until about a week ago, we only had 1. And we're excited to add to this aspect of the event. We think it's a really great chance to do something social with a group. So those relay teams, you will swap at Manus Lake, Aid Station, Henry Angel, Aid Station, and Paddy's Dam. Now, Manus Lake has 2 pass-through points for 100K runners. So the first pass-through is at about 18-ish kilometers, and then the next one is 23, 24. You can swap either at 18 or 24, depending on which you'd rather do. That's up to you whether you'd like to have your first runner do a longer leg or your second runner do a longer leg. That additional distance is mostly alongside the road or on the road heading out towards Gingelic Road from Manus Lake Aid Station. So it really is, it's a quite quick section, but have a chat within your relay teams which you want to do. And to hand off between relay members, you'll need to hand your bibs over. So runner 1 will take the bib off, hand it to runner 2 will take the bib off, hand it to runner 3, and so on and so forth. And at the aid stations, we've got kind of a standard range of snacks, salty, sweet. We'll have some potatoes up there. We'll have some fruit cake, potato chips, lollies, Tailwind, of course. Tailwind's our major nutrition sponsor, and they will be at all aid stations. You'll have the option to fill up with Tailwind. Make sure that you are staying hydrated as well. So it is a warm day. If you know you tend to drink more on warm days, just consider your overall caloric intake and the amount of water you're drinking as well. Try not to get behind or too far in on either one of those. And if you are running towards the middle of the day, we are going to try and have ice at aid stations where possible, so especially Henry Angel and Mount Garland, and possibly Junction as well. If we can get some ice to there in the middle of the day, we will try and have some ice there just to kind of help runners running in that middle bit of the day. And we're also, consciously moving the start times earlier in the day to make sure that it's a bit of a less hot time to run. If you have any other questions between now, wait for this truck to go past. If you have any other questions between now and race morning, please come and see us. As a reminder, we've got check-in tomorrow night at the Nest Cafe from 4 to 6. And then they are also screening the Trail Running Film Festival. They're screening the Run Nation Film Festival, not the Trail Running Film Festival. They're screening the Run Nation Film Festival, and you can get tickets to that at their website. We will also be hanging around to chat and get to know a few people. Obviously, it's our first year. Some of you we know, some of you we'd like to meet. So please come, say hi, grab some food. They're going to have a great menu of pizzas and pastas. If you would like to sit down and have dinner, please book ahead there. We've also got other options for dinner in town. I'm currently sitting at the lovely Ladbroken Distilling and Pizzeria, so that's an option. There's also the Elms Restaurant at the Tumbaroma Motel, and the pub in town. So a few options for dinner as well. Make sure you fuel up. Bring your layers for a cooler morning. We'll have the fires going, coffee van on site, and we're looking forward to meeting all of you very soon. Thanks. And now it's time for the bloopers. So I don't know if you guys know anything about wildlife. Hang on, there's a truck. Of course, diesels. I don't know if you know anything about wildlife in Australia. Some of you are from Poland or South Carolina, but there's these animals called magpies. And what you get a runner like this, and the runner's just running along or walking along or cycling along, just totally minding their own business. And the magpie, out of nowhere, just comes down and is like, "Don't get my babies!" And it'll swoop you. So it'll swoop you, like, scratch you in the back of the head, because they're vicious beasts. So, as you're running along, to avoid the magpies, you gotta wave your hands in the air like this and go, "Hey, Mr. Magpie, don't get me, Mr. Magpie, don't get me, Mr. Magpie," which is really hard to do while you're running, but it's a very effective technique to defend against the magpies. We've also got these animals called danger needles, or spicy sticks, or I can't think of the other names. There's a lot of creative names for them. So what they do is they come out into the sun, because they love the sun, and they lay on the trail like this. And here's our little runner again. He's switched sides now. And the little runner comes along, and they're like, "I'm a stook, I'm a stook, I'm a stook, I'm a stook, I'm a stook." And right when you're about here, they go, "I'm a steak!" Ah! And then they either scare the heck out of you, and you jump up, or they just lay there on the trail. This is a terrible idea. I had another one. Oh, there's one more animal. It's a wombat. Okay, so again, we got a runner. He's back on this side. Wombat's running along, running along, running along, running along, running along, running along. No, sorry, start that again. We got the runner. The runner's running along, running along, running along, running along, running along. And then there's the wombat. The wombat's down here, so he's like under the ground, okay? He just digs. He's like, "I'm digging a hole. I'm a wombat. I'm a wombat. I'm digging a hole. You're gonna fall in my hole." And sure enough, the runner falls in, and he goes, "Ha ha! You fell in my hole. Is that your bone I can see?" I was coerced into doing this. And that concludes your race briefing.